Hi there and welcome. You know those calls, the ones that pop up on your phone and look like they're coming from right down the street? Yeah, those annoying ones. Well, you're definitely not the only one getting them. Today, we're going to dig into exactly why scammers use this trick and, more importantly, what you can do about it. So, does this scenario sound familiar? Your phone starts buzzing, you look at the screen, and hey, that's your area code. The first few numbers might even look like one from your neighborhood. And you immediately start thinking, is this important? Maybe I should answer this one. Well, let me just say right off the bat, you are not imagining things. This is a very common, very deliberate trick that scammers use. So today we're going to pull back the curtain on how it all works, why it's so effective, and this is the best part, we'll go over some super simple, stress-free ways for you to handle it and stay in complete control. All right, so let's dive right in. We're going to talk about what some people call the local number trick. What is actually happening here, and why is it happening so much? So the fancy term for this is neighbor spoofing. I know it sounds a little technical, but the idea behind it is actually super simple. All it means is that scammers are faking the number you see on your caller ID. They're making it look like the call is coming from someone nearby. You know, a local business, maybe your pharmacy, or someone in your town. So why do they go to all this trouble? The short answer? Because it works. Think about it. We're just way more likely to answer a number that looks familiar than some random call from halfway across the country. For a scammer, just getting you to pick up the phone, well, that's step one, and it's the most important one for them. And that leads us to the single most powerful thing you can do. It's a really simple rule, and it puts you back in the driver's seat. If you don't recognize the number, just let it go to voicemail. Seriously, if it's really important, they'll leave a message. It's that easy. Okay, so you might be thinking, wait, how can they even do that? How can they just fake a phone number? Well, here's a great way to think about it. Imagine caller ID is like the return address on a letter. You know how you can write any address you want in that top left corner of the envelope? It doesn't prove that's where you live. It's the exact same idea with caller ID. It can be faked. And this is the really key takeaway here. Just because you see your local area code, it proves absolutely nothing about where that person is actually calling from. They could be in the next state over, or they could be on the other side of the planet. That local number, it's just a mask. All right, so we know what they're doing, but the bigger question is, why does it work so well on us? It really all boils down to a little bit of simple human psychology. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of why our first instinct is to answer that call. First off, a local number just feels familiar. It feels safer, right? Plus, our minds immediately jump to, oh, what if this is important? What if it's the doctor's office or the school? It's a clever way to bypass that wall we've all built up against out-of-state numbers. But here's the real kicker. The moment you answer, you've basically sent a signal back to the scammers saying, yep, this number is active. And guess what that means? It could mean even more calls later on. Okay, enough about the problem. Let's talk about the solution. This next part is the most important, what you can actually do. Here is your simple, easy-to-follow action plan for the next time one of those calls comes in. Think of this as your 4-step safety checklist. Step 1, and you've heard this before, let it go to voicemail. Just do it. Step 2, if you happen to answer by accident, it happens, and they start asking for personal info, just hang up. A real bank or government agency will never call you out of the blue and ask for your social security number. Step 3, whatever you do, don't call them back. If they say they're from, say, your credit card company, hang up, flip over your card, and call the official number on the back. And finally, step 4, block that number. It's a small victory, but it helps. So, if you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this. This is the golden rule. When in doubt, let it go to voicemail. It's a simple little habit that makes a huge difference and keeps you in charge. Okay, so that's how to react in the moment, but wouldn't it be nice to get fewer of these calls to begin with? Well, the good news is you probably have some really powerful tools already on your phone that can help, and they're super easy to use. And it doesn't matter if you have an iPhone or an Android, both of them have some great built-in features for this. You don't even need to download a new app or anything. Let's quickly walk through how to find them. All right, for all my iPhone people out there, there's a feature that is honestly a game changer. It's called Silence Unknown Callers. All you do is open up your settings, scroll down and tap on Phone, and then you'll see it. Silence Unknown Callers. Just flip that switch on. From now on, any number that isn't in your contacts will go straight to voicemail. Your phone won't even ring. It's amazing. Now, for you Android users, don't worry, you have a great tool too. You're going to open your phone app, the one you use to make calls, tap on those three little dots to open the menu, and then go into Settings. In there, look for something that says Caller ID and Spam. Tap on that and make sure Filter Spam Calls is turned on. This is great because it uses all of Google's data to try and stop spam calls before your phone even rings.
All right, let's wrap this up with a few final thoughts. The whole point of this is not to make you worried about using your phone. It's the exact opposite, actually. It's to help you feel confident, calm, and in control. And one last thing, if you want to take an extra step, you can always report these calls. The Federal Trade Commission has a website for it. You absolutely don't have to do this, but just so you know, every report that people file helps the good guys get better at blocking these kinds of calls for all of us.
So, at the end of the day, that's all this is. Neighbor spoofing sounds scary, but it's just a simple trick. That's it. And you know what? The best way to beat a simple trick is with a simple habit. And that habit is letting those unknown calls roll to voicemail. Once you realize it's just a trick, it really doesn't seem so scary anymore, does it? I really hope this explainer helped you feel a little more confident about your phone. If it did, and you'd like more simple, stress-free technology tips like these, please consider subscribing to Senior Tech Help. Thanks so much for joining me today.